ordinances here tonight, and if you recall, our last meeting was when we did a whole overhaul of our beer ordinance, and this is kind of the reason behind it was to see what we could do for hotels. And the section 8-219 of that ordinance does they do qualify for all of the stipulations in that ordinance.
Question I had was just wanted to clarify, this is the first hotel in our town to come forth with this request for this revised ordinance. Okay.
And our first request since our new beer ordinance.
So. Other comments or questions? Okay, is there a motion?
Move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. That will bring to closure the beer board meeting for December 8th, 2011.
Ready? All right, this is now opening the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting for December the 8th. By the way, this will be the last board meeting this year. Resume again on normal schedule in January. We'll start by rising for a moment of silent prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Item is approval of the agenda. Any need to change anything?
I move.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now it's the mayor's report. I have two things I want to report. Number one, we became grandparents to twin granddaughters this past week, and mother and babies are fine. That makes us 4 times grand, and they're all daughters. Next, I'd like to show another video about which I'll make no comment other than to tell you that the video is taken at the intersection of Kingston Pike and Campbell Station Road.
Mayor, do you mind if I give a little play-by-play on this as we play this video?
I didn't bind you, just myself.
If you'll pay attention to the left, the the right-hand turn lane at the far upper left part of your screen, right in front of the gas station, you're about to see a blue westbound on Kingston Pike. Thank you. You're about to see a blue car in the right-hand turn lane go straight through the intersection.
Oh, jeez.
And she comes back.
Now that car, you're going to see very quickly in the right-hand turn lane closest to your screen, right there, has done a 180 right in the middle of Kingston Pike,
Oh, my God.
and now is going to have a little fun. And continues northbound onto Campbell Station. So the cars continue to go through. And right about this time, that car's probably turning around on Campbell Station and heading back southbound on Campbell Station. You're going to see it in the right-hand turn lane on the southbound Campbell Station. Of course, as cars on Kingston Pike are coming through. There you go. Of course, narrowly misses a car right there and right there. And now if you'll look at the straight-through lane right next to this van, there they are. They've already turned around, and they're going to go straight through Kingston Pike, almost hitting two cars, and now a third that's trying to turn right there. Of all of those obvious violations, the only one that we could certainly cite them for was the very last one of going straight through on Kingston Pike, because obviously we have turned off the right turn on red citations for the new law that went into effect July 1st. So anyway, the only reason we actually knew about this was somebody at that intersection at that time called us and let us know that was going on, and so we figured we'd play that for you tonight.
Ask the obvious question: cannot that person be cited for reckless driving on the basis of video evidence?
According to our traffic enforcement officer, that the officer would have to be there and physically see it. That you can't see it from just a video alone.
Enough said on that. Picture's worth 1,000 words. We have a Boy Scout here tonight. You want to be recognized? Come on down. Item is Citizens Forum. Do we have anybody signed up?
No, sir.
Next item is your job, I think. Presentation of comprehensive annual financial report for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2011.
Yes, sir. Tonight, Mark Lund is here from Ingram, Overholt, and Bean, and he and Bob Bean are the accountants that prepared and audited our records. I'll turn it over to him.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Board. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening to present your audit report. I'd like to express my appreciation to David and Allison and the staff of the town for their cooperation while we conducted the audit. I know we're an inconvenience during their normal work environment, but they were very helpful in everything that we asked for them. I'd like to first draw your attention to the opinion on the financial statements, which can be found on page 10. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a page number, but it's the page that has our firm logo at the top. That is our opinion on the financial statements. Again, this year we issued the most favorable opinion that can be issued in an audit report, an unqualified opinion. And the opinion actually can be found in the third paragraph down at the bottom of the page, where it says, in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the governmental activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of the town of Farragut, Tennessee, as of June 30th, 2011, and the respective changes in the financial position thereof. So we were pleased that we could present that type of opinion on the town. Just a few highlights of the report. The most significant change in the reporting format this year occurred because the town implemented Governmental Accounting Standards Board Statement number 54, which that statement deals with fund balance and governmental fund type definitions. And I would draw your attention to page 41, item M. It discloses the categories of fund balance that must be used now in governmental accounting. I guess the GASB felt like there was too many different terminologies being used, so they came up with these 5 or 6 types of fund balance. They are the non-spendable fund balance, which basically comprises assets that can't be spent. That would be your prepaids, or if you were to have inventory in a fund, those would be non-spendable fund balance items. Restricted fund balance comprises those revenue streams that are constrained by an outside source. The most significant one for the town would be from the state of Tennessee, your state street aid funds. Those are restricted by the state to be spent for a specific purpose. Also, if you were to ever issue bonds, a bond agreement would probably have restrictions on how you could spend those, and if you had any of those unspent at the end of the fiscal year, they would be restricted. The remainder of the fund balances, the town sort of has control over. The committed fund balance are revenue streams that this body, through the issuance of an ordinance, constrains for a specific purpose, and it would take a similar ordinance to reverse that position. The next category is the assigned fund balance. Again, those items are fund balance or revenue streams that are constrained by this body, but using a mechanism other than an ordinance, so that could be through a resolution or some other sort. Those would be assigned fund balances. Also, fund balances can be assigned through the use of the budget resolution. If you use fund balance to balance the following year's budget, then that becomes assigned at the end of this fiscal year, which was the case in the town's fund balance. And then those that don't meet those other criteria are unassigned fund balance. And then if you want to see how it's illustrated in the town's financial statement, on page 21 is the governmental fund balance sheet, and you can see the various categories of the fund balances there. And then there's a more detailed description and breakdown within the notes. I would also like to draw your attention to the management's discussion and analysis. That's a letter prepared by Allison. It highlights the financial activities of the town in narrative form, and it's very good. I believe it's right after our opinion. Just some of the major highlights this year. The town's assets exceeded its liabilities by $41.6 million. That was an increase of $2.9 million over the prior year. Of that increase, your cash and investments were up about $990,000. Receivables from other governmental units, primarily the state of Tennessee and Knox County, were up $311,000 over the prior year, and the remaining increase is from the addition of capital assets. Those increased net of depreciation by $1.6 million. The letter goes on to compare the major revenue items with 2010. It continues on page 15 and 16 and talks about some of the major things that happened in the governmental funds. The last part of the report that we are responsible for is in the very back of the report. It's on page 91. It's our report on internal control and compliance. We're pleased this year that there were no findings. We found no deficiencies, internal control, or any instances of non-compliance. Last year we had 2 findings, and